as we kick off this morning, going across to be joined by international relations expert Dr. Oscar van Heerden. And we're talking about national dialogue and does it have the capacity, does it have the potential to restore trust in South Africa's government? But also, more importantly, are they able to fix what is called a dysfunctional, corrupt state? Dr. Oscar van Heerden, good morning to you, sir, and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Inyat, and good morning to the viewers and listeners.
Yes, these are questions that are asked over and over again in terms of confidence. Just what will it take to boost trust, confidence in this country? What will it take to actually save this country, Dr. Oscar van Heerden?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the national dialogue, the point about the national dialogue, I suspect, is to try and have a coherent plan going forward. If people can agree on a plan, and if all stakeholders buy into the plan, then perhaps that is the starting blocks for building trust, for giving people hope. Remember, there was the National Development Plan. It was supposed to go until 2030. I think this national dialogue and the fact that government and other stakeholders are wanting to push for it suggests that we had not fulfilled the National Development Plan. And therefore, a new plan, a new vision is required. And hopefully, if the people agree with it, they'll begin to rekindle that trust that has been lost, as you say.
Well, Dr. Van Heerden, the question is, how many new plans are we going to see? And I think this actually begs the question because, you spoke about the National Development Plan and clear that, over and over again, uh, all these talk shops that are taking place are not yielding results.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think you look at it, it depends how you look at it, because as there's two schools of thought, as always, on all these issues. I certainly subscribe to the school of thought that says lots have been done, lots have been achieved over the last 30 years of our democratic era. There's much, much more that needs to be done, no doubt. But we have achieved quite a bit. On all indicators. I think that anyone, and this should really be the starting point for the national dialogue. I think there needs to be agreement. Anyone will have to agree that all indicators, social and otherwise, if you look at it, we are in a much better position today than where we were in the early 90s and in the 80s under apartheid and so forth. So if that is the starting block, we then have an acknowledgement of some of the major challenges that we continue to have. I'll give you one example of a very controversial thing, which should not be controversial, and that is the issue of unemployment. Everyone, including business, ironically, is wanting to place this particular scourge on the doorstep of government, when in fact, in any normal society, we all know that job creation is a function of the private sector. It is the private sector that must stimulate the economy, that must grow the economy, that must be able to give employment to the people of the country. Now, of course, business will immediately say, yes, but we need a stable environment, we need certainty, not uncertainty, and so forth. And I have always made the argument that there has not been a more policy certain government than this one. Since 1994, a neoliberal Washington consensus, fiscal discipline, macroeconomic policy has been followed, and there has been no deviation from it for the last 30 years, at the expense, many a times, at the expense of the people. Uh, you know, so I don't. This is one of the issues I hope that is going to be really delved into. How do we begin to create employment, meaningful jobs for the majority of South Africans? And how do we, in part, grow the economy? And not say that because we pay taxes, corporate and personal taxes, this problem is a government problem. It's not.
Yes, but also I think what is important, and from what you are saying, is we are not short of policy. Even if we look at the constitution of our country, boasting as one of the best constitutions in the world. So on paper, everything seems perfect. The question is when it comes to implementation. And I think policy implementation is absolutely critical. So even if anything comes out of this national dialogue, whatever is committed on paper needs to be committed to action.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the bane of our South African government. Lots of policies, lots of proper policies. We know what needs to be done, but we're just not doing it. The implementation of these policies at times seem very difficult. A lot of red tape, corruption, infighting, um, contradictory policy statements from different departments and ministries, and so on and so forth. It's things that need to be clarified. It's things that need to be worked on. If we cannot implement the vision, then you are certainly going to alienate the people even further.
Yes, but also I think early on I spoke about trust, and just looking at why people are generally skeptical, even at an initiative like the National Dialogue. Is it justified? Because trust level seems to be pretty low at this point in time.
Absolutely. I mean, this is why, for example, we got the result that we got in the last general election. I mean, the ANC as the ruling party has been punished, and it's in large part because they've lost the confidence and the trust of the people. And so, for government, generally this government of national unity, to want to regain some of that trust, this is not the time to be in oppositional politics. This is not a time for trying to score cheap political points. I mean, and I suspect this is what's happening with some of the political parties, opposition parties now saying they are not going to be party to the national dialogue. Because this is the issue here, Annette. If we engage in a genuine national dialogue and we have a genuine national plan that comes out of that dialogue, immediately what that means is everyone that participated in the dialogue, that inputted into the dialogue, needs to take ownership of that. So the DA, the Action SAs, the EFF, all of them, if they participate, they input, they will have to take ownership of that. And they don't want that. They want to have the convenience of always pointing the finger at the ANC. The ANC is failing. The ANC is the problem. And not we as a collective having agreed on a national dialogue, how do we take the country forward? They don't want that, I suspect. And so it's cheap political point scoring that's happening at this point in time, unfortunately.
Dr. Van Heerden, I'm just going to put you on hold. We want to go for a quick ad break. Just on that thought, you speak about cheap political points and also in terms of the GNU and how this is likely to impact. I think that needs to be unpacked in a lot more detail, but we'll do that after the break.
Sure.
This is Salam Media.
It's a wonder how kids get anything done these days. With all the distractions, when do they even get time to study? As a mother, all I can really do is make sure they have all they need to perform at their best. That's why I choose to include Sunfoil, triple refined pure sunflower oil with every meal I make. Naturally cholesterol-free and approved by the Heart and Stroke Foundation as part of a balanced eating plan. So whether I'm cooking, frying, or baking, I know every dish will be a wholesome one. Sunfoil, now we're cooking.
They say breakfast is the most important meal of the day, yet many children go to school hungry because of poverty. Penny Appeal South Africa's Breakfast Club aims to get a warm, hearty meal to underprivileged children so they can spend their day prospering in their schoolwork. Help feed a needy learner for only 5 Rand a day, or 150 Rand a month. Or visit our website www.pennyappeal.org.za or call 031 1100 573 to find out how you can donate. Penny Appeal South Africa. Small change, big difference.
Discover the Africa of your dreams and surround yourself with her spectacular beauty. Relax beneath her serene sunsets and explore wildlife at its natural best. It's where the pride of Africa comes together. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve. Get to know the Big Five or cruise on an elephant safari game drive. Interact with lion and tiger cubs and enjoy world-class halal cuisine while we pamper you during your 5-star stay. Indulge in the true African experience. For reservations, call now on 042 203 1400 or visit kwantu.co.za. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve, the place of gathering.
Gaza needs your support more than ever. Homes have been shattered and families have lost everything. With your support, our teams are delivering clean water tankers, feeding the hungry, and assisting orphans who have no one left. Let us give Gaza whatever help we can. African Muslims Agency, empowering, educating, inspiring.
Johannesburg, I'm talking to you, this man.
Assalamu alaikum, South Africa. I'm so excited to come and perform this September, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum, Muhammad Tariq.
Join Muhammad Tariq on the Harmonic Praise Tour on the 27th of September at the Kurtaba Convention Center. Don't miss out on this soul-stirring, vocals-only experience. Tickets at Web Tickets. Get yours now. Brought to you by Africa Rise Entertainment. See you there.
Connect and stay ahead with Salam Media. This is Salam Media coming to you live from South Africa.
Well, we continue our discussion this morning, taking a look at the proposed national dialogue. And the questions we are raising is, will this repair broken trust or even save South Africa? With my guest this morning, international relations expert, Dr. Oscar van Heerden. Dr. van Heerden, just to continue, and interesting, just before the break, we spoke about the government of national unity, and the key issue here is this national dialogue comes at a time when it seems as if the work of government is not being done too well. And why I am saying this at this point in time is, do we have a functioning government of national unity? I'm going to cite the budget, the passing of the budget, as an example. We know the debacle surrounding the passing of the budget, and here we have this multi-party coalition government, which is branded as the government of national unity, but we see just so much actually playing out in the sidelines as well, where even within this government of national unity, these parties actually see each other as opponents.
No, absolutely. I mean, for me, the budget process, let's just start there. The budget process for me was a learning curve for the new dispensation, the new political reality, which is coalition politics. The African National Congress and the Minister of Finance made the mistake of thinking that the budget could follow the usual process, which it has always done, but has forgotten that usual process was premised on the fact that the governing party, the ANC, was having 50+1 in the National Assembly. This is no longer the case. There is a new reality. And I think that I don't want to necessarily say it was a debacle, it was a mess, and so on. I think it is the new reality that is showing us that the democracy is maturing and that we need to have a different brand of politics within this coalition period. So I think that's the issue. And I'm sure lessons have been learned and they will not be repeated going forward with regards to the budget. The main issue that, to come to your concern in it, is, the DA. Let's talk about the Democratic Alliance. The Democratic Alliance is having problems with the ANC, their partner in government, claiming that the ANC is still wanting to push its own policy agenda because it is the governing party. It is not wanting to realize that it is now in a government of national unity with other partners. And so it's interesting to me because if I was in the DA, I would have seen this national dialogue as an opportunity to redefine the policy trajectory of the country in this new dispensation of coalition politics, a move where it is not predominantly the ANC's policies, but where we as opposition parties, our constituents, can also now have a say in crafting a vision and a policy direction for the country. And unfortunately, that kind of wisdom is not existing within the DA.
Yes, but also at the same time, Dr. van Heerden, we can accept the fact that all parties are not going to agree all the time. Okay, whether they are part of government or they are not part of government. I mean, that is a given fact. And that we can accept that they will not agree. But the key issue here is looking at those that are critical, that are skeptical of being part of this national dialogue. And from what I've seen, from what I've read, saying that, this national dialogue will obviously lead to a very different outcome as far as South Africa is concerned. But once again, this whole negative response to a national dialogue at a very, very critical time in the history of this country, and also in terms of determining what the future of this country is going to look like. I mean, how do you read into this? How do you read into politicians, political parties not wanting to be part of this national dialogue, and again putting this country, its future, at risk?
Yeah, let's just talk about the timing. The first thing, the timing. I mean, I think that, for those who take an interest in history, for those who understand the post-colonial era, there is an acceptable phenomenon, which is that post-colonial countries take 30 years to either show that they are successful or they disintegrate. And we have plenty of examples of this. You look at what happened in Zimbabwe, it happened in the year 2000. It was, 30 years is sort of the benchmark to see whether a country is moving in the right direction once the colonizers have left. In our case, they never left, they're still here. We coexist. But I think the timing is actually correct. Last year was our 30th year of our democracy. It showed to still be resilient. The big issues are still intact in terms of the legislature, in terms of regular elections, in terms of independence of the judiciary, the media, and so on. So the big issues are very much still intact. Our democracy is strong. But it is a good time to take stock of what is it that we have done that we can do better, what is it that we can do in terms of the triple challenges of unemployment, poverty, and inequality going forward, and beginning to say that we all must take our shared responsibility in terms of different sectors. You cannot have, for example, Annette, you cannot have an organized labor that year in after year is just demanding an increase in salaries, an increase in salaries. We understand the cost of living is high. We need to deal with that. But you cannot have an organized labor that is just demanding an increase in salaries, not taking into consideration the needs of the majority of unemployed people in the country. So there's a lot of sacrifices that's going to have to be made. People are going to have to start taking responsibility for their sectors, whether it is the private sector in terms of business, whether it's organized labor, and of course civil society. We cannot continue. I'm a big supporter, for example, personally, of a basic income grant. So I'm one of those that are advocating that if we cannot give people meaningful jobs, then we have to put cash in hand. Otherwise, how do people survive? So I'm not one of these people that argue that, we are creating dependency and all of that. No, People need their dignity, they need some money to be able to buy basics and so forth and live. So I'm all for that. But I also understand that the tax is a shrinking tax base. It's a small tax base. And so we need to think creatively about what is it that we are going to do in the interim where we cannot create jobs. And this is a big conversation that must be had in the national dialogue. It's not going to be an easy one. I agree with you. Not everyone is going to agree on everything, but we do need to agree on the basics and the big issues.
Yes, but also talking about the big issues, Dr. van Heerden, apart from the internal challenges that we are faced with, we are also at the mercy of the global political dynamics that have been playing out. And the Trump tariff, for example, is a clear example. And we can have whatever dialogue we want, whatever plan in place as well. We are at the mercy of some of these international developments, and particularly when one looks at the United States of America, and we talk about jobs, 30% tariffs, and the amount of jobs that are at risk in this country. So we can have all of that talk. So should this national dialogue not incorporate what is playing out globally and see how we can address these issues in the interest of South Africa? Like Trump talks about, make America great again. We need to make South Africa great again.
Yeah. No, the operative words there, Inyat, is in what is in our national interest as South Africa. I think we can debate the issue around sovereignty, around the independence of our foreign policy, and so on. It is absolutely critical. The national dialogue is not going to be. We are located within a global system. We are a nation state that is a member of the international community. And yes, there are external factors and forces that we would have to take into consideration when agreeing on a national dialogue. However, those considerations for external forces and external players can't supersede what the domestic need is of South Africans. And this is very, very important. You know, and I'm raising this deliberately in it because we know, given our history in this country, our racist apartheid history, that redress is critical. And it is going to, unfortunately, take some time to redress. Socioeconomically, it is going to take time. And so for a foreign country like the United States of America to tell us that we must review our redress legislation, otherwise they are going to take punitive action against us, we're simply not going to agree to that. We are not going to agree to it because it is not in our national interest to not redress. And so you are right. We will have to consider external forces, external players, and so forth, but not at the expense of what the needs are within our own country.
Just finally, Dr. van Heerden, ideally, what would you like to see come out of this national dialogue?
I mean, I think that, as I said, we've done well over the last 30 years. There's huge challenges, particularly the triple challenge, as you know, Inet. So I would really like a situation where we come up with a plan of what it is we are going to do to fix the economy so that we can create jobs. That is the most critical part. And as I indicated before, in the absence of that, we must have an alternative plan for our people, for the poorest of the poor, because we can't just leave it to their own devices. You know, we're constantly saying that we're going to review the COVID grant, but we've already accepted that it's now the norm. There's no way government is going to be able to stop it unless they want a massive revolt and lose the elections and so on and so forth. So what we need to discuss is ways and means of fixing the economy so that we can give people meaningful jobs. What that means is everyone will have to come to the table, not only government.
Well, let's see what develops from here, Dr. Oscar van Heerden, and always, interesting talking to you as well. And we thank you once again, and we do appreciate your time with us right here on Salam Media. So all the best to you, sir.
Well, always a pleasure. Thank you, Inat.
Dr. Oscar van Heerden with us this morning, international relations expert. Yes, interesting discussion was ahead of this national dialogue. And for us, South Africa, this is extremely crucial. It's important. And I'm sure a lot will be said. A lot of speculation will also take place ahead of this national dialogue. But yes, absolutely necessary looking at South Africa, where we are as a country, and if we want to move forward. Next up is Juma Nasiha.